Welcome to the monthly Consumer Issues program hosted by Cornell Cooperative Extension, Tompkins County. On the second Thursday of each month, we are joined by New York State Assistant Attorney General Michael Danaher, who makes a presentation on a topic of consumer interest. Today's program is on avoiding and resolving problems with car purchases and repairs. After his presentation, Mr. Danaher will answer questions that viewers have submitted to CCE Tompkins in the Zoom chat box. This presentation also will be available to on the CCE Tompkins YouTube channel and will be broadcast next month on Mondays on Public Access Channel 15. Thank you for joining us today. And now here is New York State Assistant Attorney General Michael Danaher with today's program.
Thank you, Sandy. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Consumer Issue program. We are still doing this remotely, and who knows when we will get back in person, but we hope that will happen sometime in the not too distant future, when we can all get together and have some back and forth with questions that people have. Otherwise, we'll continue to broadcast over the Cornell Cooperative Extension website and hopefully be able to present you with information that might assist you. And as Sandy indicated, today's discussion regarding purchases and repairs of automobiles. I know that other than our homes, it's a car purchase, especially nowadays, is probably the second most expensive purchase that we're going to make. And unlike other things, large purchases like a home, the home we anticipate is going to appreciate in value, increase in value over a period of time. An automobile is a depreciable asset. In other words, its value goes down the longer that we own the car and the more that we use it. And so at some point, not at some point in time, as soon as we drive it off the lot, it's worth less money than when we purchased it. Hopefully, we will make a good decision when it comes to purchases, and that way we'll get a long life out of the vehicle, and that it will last a long time and not cost us a lot of money. I know that with the amount of money that we spend on vehicles nowadays, and in particular now because the prices have gone up dramatically as a result of the pandemic, it's just bothersome that when something goes wrong with the vehicle and can lead to a large repair. But we have to understand that as good as vehicles are nowadays, they do run into problems. They do require maintenance. Some vehicles cost more to maintain than other vehicles. But we get one big problem and it's hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to repair. And it kind of bugs us that we have to do that. Over a course of time, there are going to be problems. There is going to be maintenance. We're going to have to spend money to do those things. But we want to make the best decision for us as a good consumer in order to make a reasonable value for what we're purchasing. The first thing let's talk about is the purchase itself. And we've always advocated here when we've talked about this topic, as well as any other consumer topic, is that we need to be a good consumer. And the best way we can be a good consumer in purchasing a vehicle is to decide first and foremost, what is it that I need, rather than what is it that I want. We can always get to the what we want, but first thing we need to decide is, what do we need? Do we need a brand new car? Why? And what are we willing to spend on that car? What add-ons do we need on the vehicle, as far as, do we need GPS? Do we need heated seats? Do we need this, that, or the other thing? And make that decision first before we start talking to dealers about the purchase of the car. That way you can go in with a idea of exactly what you want and need before someone tries to convince us what we want or what we need. Also, there are many, many resources available now to assist us in being a good consumer. There are many websites we can go to get an idea of the type of vehicle that we're looking for and what it will cost us generally. That way you can get a good idea of what the parameters might be as far as cost goes for the vehicle. Do your research ahead of time. That's what a good consumer does. Go out, do your research, figure out what it is that you need to fulfill your travel needs, and then work from there. The worst thing they can do is to go onto a lot, not having any knowledge of expected price ranges or expected quality of a vehicle, and then have somebody else convince us what car we need to buy. So if you go in with an idea of, okay, I can expend this much money, these are the kind of cars that I can get within that price range. How many back years used would it be? I can probably afford a car in this X number of dollars range. That would put me into a car. Well, I really need 4-door car. I don't need a big SUV. And that way you can kind of get an idea, and then you'll know going in. Also, you can go, most dealerships nowadays, and that's new and used car dealerships, have websites, and they list the cars that they have. So you can actually see what's there, what kind of mileage is on the vehicle, all those sorts of things before you go and start to look. The internet in this area has really helped to level the playing field so that you can know what is out there before you go and make the purchase or even go on to the lot. Then when you get on, the one thing that I tell people is, don't focus on the monthly payment. Focus on how much in total you can pay for a vehicle. Say it's $12,000 that you can afford to pay for the vehicle. No $12,000. You can do research and you can find out, well, I can't pay $12,000 in total all at once because I just don't have it. Figure out how much cash you can put down and figure out roughly what your monthly payment can be. And you can go on, again, the internet, and you can look and see how much interest rates are for vehicles and how long you can get a loan for on the vehicle. And that will dictate how much your monthly payment is. So if you say to yourself, you can work backwards. You say to yourself, oh, I can afford $323 a month in payments. Okay. Well, if that's the case, what makes up that payment? 3 things. One is how much you're borrowing. The other thing is how much the interest rate is. And the last thing is, over what period of time are you going to make your payments? Those are the 3 elements that go into paying off a loan, any type of loan, car loan or other loan. Total amount you're borrowing, how much the interest rate is, and how long do you have to pay it off. Those 3 things will dictate what the monthly payment is. So what you would do as a good consumer is you could figure that out ahead of time. You can figure out, well, the interest rates for vehicles are, I'm just going to grab a percentage. I don't know what it is. I haven't explored that. Let's say it's you have good credit, that you will probably get a car loan in the range of 4%, just using an interest rate. Okay, at 4%, how much can I pay um, per month, I'm going to pay like $322. Say, okay, at 4%, how much can I borrow to pay just $322 a month? And you can look it up and I haven't looked it up. It's math. So you can do a quick calculation and see. I'll just grab a number. Let's say it works out to be, that's over 5 years. That's $12,000. Say, okay, I can afford that. So you have an idea going in. You say, I can afford a $12,000 payment. I can afford $2,000 down. So that means I can buy a $14,000 car. And I'll be paying $322 a month. And then you go in, the worst thing that can happen is you can go in and just say to the dealer, I can afford $322 a month. And because what we talked about earlier, what makes up $322 a month? The amount you're borrowing, the interest rate, and the length of time that it's paid. So if all you're focused on is $322 a month, what a lender, or in this case would be the car dealership, can do in figuring out their calculations, they can say, well, I can manipulate, and I use that term loosely. It's not that they're manipulating, it's that they can use one of those three prongs that we talked about: the total amount borrowed, the interest rate, or the length of time that it's being paid, to bring it within the $322. So let's assume for the moment that they can say, okay, yeah, we can get you in this car for $322 a month. What they could do is they could say, rather than pay the $322 over 4 years, we will stretch it out to 6 years. That means you'll be paying the $322 for a longer period of time. And what does that mean to you? What that means to you is the total payments that you're going to be making for this car just went up dramatically, because you're paying an extra $322 a month for an extra 24 months. So you don't want to be focused on the monthly payment. Figure out how much you want to pay in total and then work your way back from that. So you go on the lot, they have a car for sale for $14,000. You can say, okay, I can afford that, but I'll offer you $13,000. And you work out a deal, let's say it's $13,500. And then you say, okay, let's figure out how I'm going to pay that $13,500. And you can say, I can afford this much per month. Can you give me a loan for X% for 4 years? I'm not going to pay any more than 4 years on this loan. And that puts you in a good bargaining position to where you can say, I got the deal. It's fair to me. I'm not overpaying for this vehicle, and it'll be paid off in 4 years rather than 7. Or I'm hearing that sometimes car loans are being extended out even further than that. And what that happens is, although you're saying, okay, I can afford the $322, in total, you are paying a tremendous amount of money over that period of time because it's so long that you're paying it. The best thing you can do as a consumer when you're dealing with loans is to pay it at the lowest interest rate for the shortest period of time, because then your total payments will be so much less. So again, go into that purchase decision and be aware of what it is and make the right decision for you. The other thing I want to add on the purchase, the dealership may offer you other things that will add on top of what just the car purchase: extended warranties, rust proofing, the whole host of extra things. Just understand what it is that you're buying. Don't be talked into it. Make sure you really need it before you make that decision. So that deals with the buying decision. Let's talk about, you got the car. You got a car. You got the one that you wanted to purchase. You got a fair deal. And then something happens to it. Well, it depends on the type of vehicle that you have as to what type of relief that you can seek. Under New York law, every new car that is purchased comes with it a given warranty. It's referred to as the lemon law warranty. There is a lemon law warranty with every car purchase that is made. We're talking about new cars first. It's also, there is a used car lemon law, and the rules are a little bit different for each of those. So these laws are required to be given to you by a dealer who sells you a vehicle, whether it's a new or used car. You are entitled to a warranty. I will tell you right off the bat, these warranties are minimum warranties. They are not bumper to bumper, everything is going to be fixed. They are the minimum warranty coverage. There are, for new cars, manufacturer's warranties. Those are separate than the new car lemon law warranty, and they must cover at least what the New York lemon law warranty requires. Most manufacturer warranties do cover most of those things, but there may be some slight differences. And in all likelihood, those warranties cover a greater period of time than the lemon law warranty. So again, they're minimum warranties. They're significantly less than what the manufacturer's warranties are, but the manufacturer, the advantage you have with the I'll call them statutory, the lemon law statutory warranties, is that those warranties allow for a refund. Most manufacturers' warranties only call for repairs of the vehicle. And there are various subtleties that occur that in the law that may present some additional problems, and we will talk about all of these. Again, generally it's two distinct warranties, one for new car, one for used car. There are differences to each, and you should be aware of those. It also the lemon law warranty we're talking about here only applies to vehicles that are primarily used for personal, family, or household use, and that means more than 50% use. So if you have a vehicle that you've combined as kind of a business personal, if you use it more than 50% of the time for your personal use, then it would be considered to be for personal, family, or household use. But if you use it minimally for personal use and mostly for commercial businesses, the lemon law warranty does not apply in New York, and it applies to the warranty applies to the type of use of the vehicle, and you have to determine whether or not it would be covered because of commercial or personal use. It applies to both leases and purchases of vehicles. It just has a different calculation on the amount of refund, whether it's a lease or a purchase. And most importantly, the lemon law warranties cannot be waived. So if a dealer presents it to you, we'll give you a discount if you waive the lemon law warranty. You cannot waive the lemon law warranty. So it is not waivable. So let's first of all talk about the new car warranties. New car warranty applies to the manufacturer. So it's Toyota, Honda, GM. It applies to them, although the dealerships are the authorized representatives for the manufacturer. Here's the coverage. A new car, a car is considered to be, I'll use the word car, but automobile, it could be SUV or whatever. The car is covered, is considered to be a new car if it is purchased earlier than 18,000 miles or 2 years from the date of original delivery, whichever is less. It again applies to vehicles that are purchased, leased, or registered in New York. So technically, if you're over the border in Pennsylvania, but the dealer knows that you're purchasing it in New York, or purchasing it for registration in New York, and you registered in New York, it could apply. If you buy the vehicle in another location, and again, it applies to the manufacturer. So the manufacturer, Toyota, Honda, GM, Ford, they're obligated to do the warranty repair under New York's lemon law warranty, even if you purchase it in Pennsylvania, as long as it is registered within a reasonable time within New York. And we talk about reasonable here all the time in our consumer issues session. So it's whatever reasonable. There's one court case that found that someone who purchased a vehicle out of New York and registered it 4 years later in New York, that the 4 years, it was unreasonable that to have the New York lemon law apply. But it really, there's no clear definition of what that reasonable period of time is. And again, the rule is that the manufacturer or their authorized agent, which would be a dealer, must make repairs to defects that occur with the new vehicle free of charge, meaning there should be no deductible allowed. It must be repaired free of charge for any defect that occurs. And the repairs must even be made after that 18,000 mile mark or 2 years, as long as the defect occurred within that period of time. So let's use the example that the defect occurred at 17,999 miles, and it's less than 2 years of ownership. Then even though you take it in for the repair at 18,025 miles, it still must be repaired. There's a possible, it's not a loophole, but a quirk, which is an interesting situation that I haven't seen how it was resolved, is what if you buy the vehicle at 17,500 miles? Still constitutes a new vehicle under the lemon law warranty, but you'll be at 18,000 miles in only 500 miles. I haven't seen any cases that have come about that, but it would almost appear that you would be, from lemon law purposes, be better waiting till the vehicle was at 18,001 miles, and you would get the used car lemon law warranty. You might be better off in some instances than if you got the car at 17,500 miles. That's more of an academic argument or question or concern, because the manufacturer warranties usually extend much longer than that anyway, and that they would be bound by their manufacturer's warranty to do the repair anyway. So it's just an interesting point that I've come up with over the years. What happens? The warranty is the manufacturer must repair the vehicle or correct the defect. And the defect is any defect that, quote, substantially impairs the value of the vehicle. This is the new car warranty, which substantially impairs the value of the vehicle. They must repair it, and they must be given a reasonable number of attempts to repair the vehicle. And if they have not, then you can go through the New York lemon law warranty process. If they are unable to repair the vehicle and put it in a condition or repair the condition that had substantially impaired the value of the vehicle, if they cannot do it within a reasonable number of attempts, and we'll talk about that in a second, they must accept the vehicle back and refund the money. Or replace the vehicle with a comparable motor vehicle. The important thing is it's your choice, the consumer's choice. If the consumer says, I really like the vehicle. This one just happens to be an anomaly. It's got a big problem. I'll take that other one that's exactly like this one. I'll take that other one on your lot. Then it's your choice for a replacement vehicle or return of the vehicle entirely, wash your hands of it, get a complete refund for what you paid. Now, the repair must be made within a reasonable number of attempts. The statute, the law, actually defines what a reasonable number of attempts is. And for a new vehicle, there's a presumption if you have given the manufacturer or the dealer, the authorized agent of the manufacturer, 4 or more attempts within the warranty period, and the defect still continues, that's a reasonable number of attempts. Or if the vehicle is out of service for 30 days or more due to the defect. So if the defect is out there, one, you've taken it back 5 times, 4 or more times, and they still can't fix that defect that substantially impairs the value, you are entitled to get your refund. If, however, you take it back twice, but the total times that it has been with the dealer has been 30 or more days, that also triggers it. You do not need to show that the defect exists at the time of your lemon law hearing in this event. If you took it back the reasonable number of attempts and they didn't fix it and you start the lemon law process, then you are still entitled to get the refund. So we have the question of what if the consumer gets it fixed after 5 attempts but still wants a refund? It appears that the court case would still be allowed for you to get a refund. To be safe, I would recommend that you file for the lemon law case, the lemon law arbitration, before taking it in for the 5th repair, where it might ultimately be fixed, because you've started the case at least. And then if they fix it afterwards, you still have the ability to ask for a refund. So that's what happens. So what ends up happening is if you take it back, it doesn't get fixed within the reasonable number of attempts, you can go through the lemon law arbitration process. And there's information available on our website, the Attorney General's website at www.ag.ny.gov, and look for lemon law. You can get information regarding that. But what ends up happening is you file a lemon law arbitration forms. It goes into our lemon law arbitration unit in New York City, the Attorney General's office. Our office looks at it and just make sure all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed, that you've documented the 4 or more repair attempts and that everything is in there. And then it gets shipped out to an arbitration company, third-party arbitration company, that would then go ahead and set up the arbitration for you to go in and have a hearing against the manufacturer to show that you qualify and that you want a refund. That is if the dealer authorized agent hasn't already agreed to give you the refund. So that's kind of it as far as the new cars. Used cars is a little bit different. It's different in several respects. It applies to the dealer rather than the manufacturer. Again, with a new car, you're typically taking the car back to a dealer, but technically the dealer is acting as the agent of the manufacturer. Here in the used car realm, you're taking it back to the dealer, and it's the dealer's responsibility to fix the problem. So it would apply to new car dealers who you happen to buy a used car from because they sell new and used, or the local used car dealer that just sells used car and is not affiliated with any dealer. So it applies to dealers rather than the manufacturer. And a dealer is determined to be someone who previously sold 3 or more motor vehicles in a 12-month period of time. So if you have a vehicle that you buy from a person who sells vehicles kind of on the side, but they sell 3 or more motor vehicles over the course of 12 months, they will qualify as a dealer and should be offering you the used car lemon loan. The warranty for that used car, the length of it depends solely on mileage. How many miles were on the car at the time that you purchased it? And rather than covering any condition that substantially impairs the value of the vehicle, like it would be for a new car, the warranty for the used car covers only specific designated parts which are defective and cannot be repaired. Because let's face it, with used cars, things wear out. So there are only certain designated items that are covered with a used car warranty. Let's first talk about the coverage. You know how in the new car, we said a new car is anything up to 18,000 miles. And so you'd be covered for that. The coverage for the used cars goes from 18,001 miles up to 100,000 miles, but it comes in segments. The first one is 18,001 miles to 36,000 miles. If you buy a vehicle in that mileage range, the lemon law warranty is for 90 days or 4,000 miles, whichever comes first. The next category is 36,001 miles up to 79,999 miles. If you buy a vehicle with those mileages, your warranty is 60 days or 3,000 miles, whichever occurs first. And the last group is if you buy a vehicle from 80,000 miles to 100,000 miles, the warranty is very short. It's 30 days or 1,000 miles, whichever occur first. You must understand that there are no New York lemon law warranties for vehicles with over 100,000 miles. This statute has not been updated since it was created as far as the mileage goes. And I know there are many, many vehicles out there that are over 100,000 miles that are being sold. And you need to know in going into that transaction that under the statutory warranty, that minimum basic lemon law warranty that New York has, there is no warranty. You would have to buy an extended warranty or be granted some type of extended warranty by the dealer if you wanted any type of warranty coverage above 100,000 miles. So that's the mileage portion of the coverage. There's also an out of service portion of the coverage, and that is 15 days out of service with a maximum of 45 days out of service if the reason for the delay is because the manufacturer can't get parts or get it fixed. So if there's a delay due to, let's say there's a shortage of parts, if it's out of service for up to 45 days, it doesn't trigger it. But outside of 45 days to get those extra repairs, then it would be covered. So, like we talked about earlier, it only covers for used cars certain parts. And those parts are the engine, transmission, drive axle, brakes, not including brake pads, because those things wear out. It's the actual mechanical parts for the brakes. Steering, radiator, alternator, generator, or starter ignition systems, but it doesn't apply to other things that do wear out, like the brake pads, the wipers, the wiper motors, the tires, those things it does not apply to. So if one of those covered parts is defective, then the used car warranty, assuming you're within the mileage period or the out of service days, must be repaired by the dealer, and the dealer must be given a reasonable period of time within which to fix the vehicle. However, the dealer can exclude some things such as failure to provide customary maintenance. Let's use the example, you don't do oil changes, or the oil just evaporates and you don't keep the oil up and the engine blows, there can be exclusion of coverage. Failures due to racing. So if you're out drag racing with the vehicle, and a few other things, if damage occurs as a result of those things, they would not be covered by the lemon law warranty. So what are the dealer requirements in that circumstance? The dealer requirement circumstance is it must be repaired at no cost. That means no deductibles or anything like that. Or the dealer must reimburse the consumer for the costs of those particular repairs. If the repairs, like a new car, can't be made within a reasonable number of attempts, then the consumer is entitled to a full refund. Again, what is the reasonable number of attempts? And in the used car area, it's 3 or more. If you've given the dealer 3 or more opportunities to repair it, and the defect still continues to exist, it is presumed that it is a lemon and that you'll be entitled to the refund. Now, here's the thing, a caveat that I throw out to everyone. Make sure that you understand. The defect that's in the vehicle that can't be repaired must be the same defect. So if, for example, the dealer fixes one thing and then something else goes bad, the period of time starts over again. And my experience has been, when I used to do these types of cases, is that the dealer may attempt to attribute your current problem with a new problem. It isn't the old thing. Oh, that old thing, that was fixed. This is something new. What the consumer needs to do is to be aware of what it is the problem is, and that problem still exists. So you would need to have someone say that ticking in the engine, or you to be able to show that ticking in the engine is the same. If the dealer attempts to make a repair that doesn't fix that problem, then it's not a valid repair. So don't let them use that to say, oh, no, you're outside the warranty period because we fixed the one problem you had. Make sure that you document and show that it is, no, they never fixed it in the first place. And it's still the same ongoing repair in order to trigger the lemon law. So what do? You have 2 options. If there's you go past the warranty, it hasn't been fixed, or within a reasonable number of repair attempts, you can either sue it outright, or you can go through the lemon law arbitration program we talked about before. I don't have the statistics, but I believe that our office does report periodically what the success rates and things for the lemon law arbitration process. The last time I checked, which was a long time ago, it was kind of 50-50 as to new cars and used cars as to when you go into arbitration. The success rate is about 50-50. Again, the arbitration process is and the forms are available on the Attorney General's website. It gets forwarded by our office after you send them in, and everything's okay. It gets forwarded to the administrator of the lemon law process, and then that you should be given notice. I believe the fees, which you are able, if you're successful, you're able to recoup those for filing a lemon law arbitration case. I don't know if they've been updated. The last time I checked, for a new car, it was $250. For a used car, it was $125. So you'll get notified, hey, pay the fee, we'll schedule the arbitration. It's also my understanding that the arbitration is actually going to occur in your area. So you don't have to travel very far to go through and have a hearing. It's an oral hearing. I don't know what they're doing now that the pandemic is going on. I haven't heard how they're conducting those. I know in regular court cases, we're doing a lot of video meetings. I don't know what they're doing with the lemon law process. Understand that the defenses that a dealer may impose is that the damage was caused by abuse, neglect, or that there was unauthorized alterations done by the owner. They may argue that the defect that occurs in a new car does not substantially impair the value of the vehicle. So you be ready to refute that. Or as I mentioned before with the used car, that the problem was fixed within the warranty period, but this is a new problem that cropped up. And again, that will come down to a question of fact that the arbitrator or the court would have to resolve. Let's assume you're successful. You're entitled to restitution. You're entitled to choose a full refund or the replacement vehicle. Most consumers have chosen the cash. You're entitled to receive a full refund, and that would include any trade value of the vehicle that you may have traded in to pay for this car. For new cars, here's an interesting thing. Notice how we said that the new car warranty is up to 18,000 miles. Well, under the law, what happens is you get a full refund up to 12,000 miles. And after 12,000 miles and up to 18,000 miles, there's actually a mileage deduction formula, and I won't go into it now. But it's in essence the amount of miles that are over 12,000 will go to it comes out to a percentage, will go to a slight decrease in the amount of the refund. So up to 12,000 would be a full refund, and there'd be a slight deduction for based on the miles that are over 12,000 miles above that. The successful party that should notify the dealer or manufacturer that you've accepted the award, and that the dealer or manufacturer must comply within 30 days. So you say, got the decision from the arbitrator, I agree, I want my full refund, and that then is incumbent upon the manufacturer or dealer to refund you the money within 30 days. If they don't, you can then sue them, and you would be entitled, one, to a $25 per day assessment, up to a maximum of $500. And also, if you have to bring a proceeding to get your refund, you would be entitled to, if you hired an attorney, to get attorney's fees. We also recommend that you would if you run into that type of a situation, make a complaint with the Department of Motor Vehicles, because the Department of Motor Vehicles licenses all dealers, new and used car dealers, and that could have some impact on their license if the dealer doesn't pay. So those are the kind of issues related to lemon law warranty and the purchase and repair of vehicles. I think that we need to be good consumers when it comes to this type of purchase or purchase anywhere else. Be aware of what your rights are. There's a lot of information that's available online. Do your research. Be a good consumer and make a wise decision. Understand that, again, dealers are licensed by the Department of Motor Vehicles. If you take a car in for a repair and the repair is not adequately done, the Department of Motor Vehicles has a process where you can complain against a dealer, and that dealer can be taken to a hearing if you're being overcharged. You're entitled, when you take a vehicle in to get repaired, to, before the repair is made, you are entitled to know what the repair is and how much it's going to cost you. Because I know nothing worse can be when you go in and you say, hey, my car's having a problem here. Can you work on it, get it fixed? And all of a sudden the dealer says, okay, yeah. And the next thing you know, you get this bill for thousands of dollars that you were not expecting. You go, what happened? I don't have $3,000 to fix this thing. And the dealer has to give you that invoice ahead of time. They're going to say, okay, yes, we did an assessment. it's going to cost you X number of dollars, and then you have to agree to it. If the dealer is all of a sudden doing these repairs and not with your permission, you should file a complaint against that dealer. You should know ahead of time. And again, they can get into big trouble with the Department of Motor Vehicles. If they're charging you for something more than what you had agreed to, they're only entitled to receive what they had given to you. If for some reason they get involved in a repair and they find out through no fault of their own, because it couldn't be diagnosed any sooner, that it is it's more work than what was originally anticipated, they need to get your okay before they go ahead and do that additional repair. So again, be a good consumer, understand your rights, and follow through on it. If anybody has any questions regarding this or any other consumer related issue, I'd be glad to answer them. Otherwise, I'm going to pass it back on to whether it's Jim or Sandy or whoever. And
great. Thanks, Mike. And thanks to those of you who joined us today for this presentation. Mr. Danaher will be back with us on Thursday, September 9th at 11 a.m. with a presentation on tenant landlord rights and responsibilities. You can find the Zoom link on the event listing on our website at ccetompkins.org/events. Thanks for joining us today. And thank you again, Mike.
Thank you, Sandy. Goodbye, everyone.